10 years ago, when I was just a little Vermanubis, I tried getting into competitive melee, but I stopped trying real quick because all the guides and tutorials just savagely beat me with information, and it frustrated me. I felt like I'd been hit by a rip current and didn't know where I was even supposed to begin, and none of the information that was being thrown at me felt useful or real in the sense that I could apply it in any meaningful way. The information was all very interesting, certainly, and very motivational, until I actually picked up a controller and realized I didn't have the slightest idea what to do with any of it. That said, tutorials and guides do have their place, and they do serve an important role, don't get me wrong, but in terms of the learning process, they function like a dictionary. As new students of Smash, or really any game for that matter, you're like speakers of a new foreign language, and so a dictionary is a good reference if you forget a word or don't know a word, but you're going to have a real bad time trying to learn a new language from a dictionary. Most people learn entirely new skills infrequently enough that their first instinct upon picking up a new skill or hobby is to arm themselves with the total knowledge of the orthopraxy, or the proper way to do things, in other words, of that skill, for the same reason you would put a brace on a tree, so it grows straight and doesn't take any unwanted turns into the neighbor lady's bedroom window or the power lines. In other words, people want to not make mistakes and make a straight shot to mastery. But if you'll let me be the first to deliver your supreme irony for the day, avoiding mistakes is one of the most counterproductive things you can do as a beginner. Now, does that sound a little strange? If so, consider this nifty little analogy. Imagine you have no idea how chairs work and you've just sat on, logs your whole life in the woods, and you suddenly become irresistibly curious about why chairs have 4 legs. This, believe it or not, might be a tough question to answer, but what if you instead ask not why the chair has 4 legs, but why it doesn't have 3? Take the 4th leg away, and suddenly the 4th leg's purpose makes an awful lot of sense. The idea behind that analogy is that it shows that sometimes you need to know a problem exists in the first place before you understand its solution. It's really important to give beginners time. It's good to have a trial and error phase. No matter how hard you try, trying to absorb loads of information from tutorials and guides without context or a frame of reference for application is a waste of time. That exploratory phase is necessary. Let's say a beginner keeps getting grabbed because they don't know about spot dodging. Knowledge of spot dodging will be a lot more useful and real to the person if they understand what problem it solves firsthand, which is what this so-called exploratory phase accomplishes. First-hand experience to the problems whose solutions are contained in guides and tutorials. Going back to the dictionary analogy, ask yourself this one, cowboy. Do you read a German dictionary on your flight to Germany knowing exactly which words you'll need to know? Or do you reference it every time you encounter a situation for which you don't have the right word? When beginners are directed to guides and tutorials as their first definite step towards progress, they're in essence being given solutions to problems they don't yet know exist. This, in my experience, describes a lot of different learning processes. You don't just rip finished pottery from the mud, or like that episode of SpongeBob where Squidward's teaching him art and he taps the slab of marble and Michelangelo's David just falls out. Rather, you slap the clay on a pottery wheel and gradually sculpt the ugly hunk of clay into something pretty. So what exactly am I suggesting? I'm suggesting that beginners be allowed to just play the game and explore for the first little while with no pressure to get things right or have some kind of meteoric improvement or breakthrough. One thing I used to do with my Russian students was give them a few sentences that had a lot of really rich grammatical concepts sort of embedded in them, but I wouldn't tell them about the grammar. I'd just let them get used to saying the phrases, using them, and getting comfortable speaking. Only once they hit a wall where they needed those grammatical concepts to express new ideas did I let them in on the grammar, because by that time, they had formed an intuitive sense for the language and understood what purpose those grammatical concepts served, because they understood firsthand what problems they solved rather than just memorizing them and forgetting them directly thereafter. So in short, my advice to beginners and mentors alike is this. Don't rush it. Don't assault yourself with new information that you don't yet understand. Tutorials and guides are important, but they should be used as references, and a lot of frustration comes from using them as something they're just not meant to be. Give yourself time to make mistakes and get a feel for the game. Your intuition will take the wheel for a while, and it'll mislead you at points, but that's when you turn to tutorials and guides to find solutions to the problems you're up against. Cliche though it is to quote Bruce Lee, he was right when he said that if you want to learn to swim, then jump in the water, since land has no frame of reference to help you. Anyway, right about there feels like a good place to leave the topic. Just like a person who's new to lifting weights is really just dying to go to the gym and get gains as fast as possible, but has to rest and not try to work against nature, so too do beginners to Smash or any other game have to just accept that now is for exploration. Getting better is ultimately just getting better at problem solving, and you can't solve problems you don't yet know exist. Hey guys, thanks as always for being here, and I hope I had some worthwhile things to say. Something real quick while I've got you here though. If you like SmashConceptions and want to support it, though you certainly don't have to, there are a lot of ways you can if you feel moved to do so. The most direct way is becoming a patron of mine on Patreon. If that's not something you want to do, you can always just subscribe to the channel, like the video, or follow me on Twitch where I stream pretty often. Anyway, at that, I'll see you guys around. Thank you.